Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Boot Camp Blueprint, the place where personal trainers go to grow their boot camp. Now, I'm super excited because we have an absolute rock star on the other end today, coming all the way from the United States. Now, this person here, she's the lead trainer, program designer, and head coach at Results Fitness. If you haven't heard of Results Fitness, it's actually one of the top gyms in the United States. It was ranked in the top 10 gyms by both men's and women's health. This person's specialty is actually in the obstacle course race niche. She is one of the best in the world herself. She's competed numerous times at the World Championships, and she's also one of the best coaches in the world. She's helped hundreds of clients cross the finish line in these obstacle courses from all levels. She's helped people that didn't think they would be able to complete a race to complete it, but she's also had multiple podium places as well in these races. So she's very good at what she does. I know this for a fact because along with all these talents, she's also a speaker, a fitness presenter. And I heard her speak at the URSA convention a couple weeks ago. And she was, if not my favorite presentation, definitely up there in the top 2 or 3. So I'm super excited to have this person on the podcast. So without further ado, let me introduce the one and only Ms. Sawyer Shea. Sawyer, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I am awesome. Thank you very much for your time here, Sawyer. I like to start all these podcasts off with a quote or mantra that fires you up or inspires you. Have you got one for us?
Yes. So one of my favorite quotes that actually comes from Nike, it is, if you have a body, you are an athlete. And I think that works so well, especially with OCR, because it's for everybody. You can do it no matter what your skill level is. And I just love that.
I love that too. I've never heard that one, but I really like it.
Yes.
Well, Sawyer, let's dive straight into it. I think the first question I've got for you we're talking to trainers here, right? Why should they get their clients to do obstacle course races? What are the advantages? Let's say, could be a few different people listening. You might have a trainer that's working in the gym. They're like, I got my one-on-one clients. We do our bench presses and squats. Why are we going to an obstacle course race? Or you may have a studio owner or a boot camp owner that's like, we do, boot camp stuff 6 a.m. every morning. Anyway, why are we going to go and do these obstacle course races? What can you tell us there? Advantages from the client side of things?
Well, these races are just growing in such big numbers that as either working on your own or working in a facility, if you're not taking advantage of them, you're going to fall behind because their friends, their coworkers are going to start jumping on the train to do these obstacle course races, or if you hear me say OCR, that's what I mean. And so you want to go on this journey with them. And fat loss gets boring after a little while. So people are going to be looking for something. What we always say at Results is like, we've given them these new bodies and now we have to show them how to use it. Because a lot of people just think they're made of glass, but you've deadlifted 200 pounds. So now let's go run a race that you never thought you could do. And really there's all different levels of these races. So I would say Spartan and Tough Mudder are towards the top of some of the more challenging races, but there's definitely lower level ones where people can feel like champions when they finish, and then they kind of catch the bug and they want to keep doing them. And as a business owner, you want to build a fence around your clients. It's way easier to keep the clients that you have than try to find new ones.
Love that. I'll do a bit of a summary because I love all those points you brought up there. My background's in boot camp myself, and I would do 12-week challenges. And every 12-week challenge, I would always pencil in one obstacle course race there. We'll get to the specifics of the race in a sec. But just to summarize what Sawyer's done there, the first point she mentioned is the friend side of things. That's a great way because it can go both ways, right? If you're running a boot camp and you're not doing these obstacle course races, your client could have a friend who is doing them, and all of a sudden your client gets interested in that, and then they go over and start training somewhere else because they've got that there. Or you can flick the switch and you can say, all right, hey, I'm going to do one of these obstacle course races, and that may lead to your clients bringing their friends across to do these races, and they're like, this group is pretty cool, this trainer's pretty cool, hey, I might go and sign up at this boot camp or this gym here. So I love that side of it there. I also love how you said fat loss is boring. And especially coming from like a 12-week challenge side of things, like you can lose a lot of weight in 12 weeks, and like say you do that, okay, in 12 weeks, you can change your life, really, right? You do 12 weeks, maybe another 12 weeks, you've got this perfect body now. You're going to get bored if you just keep doing that there. But those obstacle course races gives you another goal to reach, and a very different one. It's all of a sudden not so much about, okay, what do the scales say, which gets super boring. And even like a fitness side of things, like it gets boring to an extent. Oh, great, I can do 100 push-ups now. Oh, great, I can squat 200 pounds now. Like, hey, that's great, don't get me wrong, but it's very different to completing an obstacle course race. So it's a very different feeling there. But the biggest point that I found that you hit on that last one is just the community side of things. I can't explain it, and you can probably do a better job of explaining it than me, but there's something about getting a group, even if it's small, 5-10 people, and they do an obstacle course race together. I don't know what it is, right? But at the end of that race and the weeks after training, there's this high. They're just so much more connected. Did you find that there?
100%. And it's so funny you say that, because there's two sides of it. You can pull in all of the ex-athletes, so maybe people that were collegiate or high school athletes and they missed that team camaraderie. But at the same time, you can pull in all the people that never played sports or were never on a sport team, and now they're learning this amazing team culture and this feeling, and they have each other's backs, and they go through these hard workouts and through the mud together. And then as far as the culture, it's gonna just sort of infest your facility or your boot camp, and people are gonna be buzzing and talking about it. And the biggest thing there is roll with it. Keep doing it, because the momentum's gonna build, and people that were maybe unsure the first time you do it are gonna be super pumped, and their friend did it, so now they're gonna jump in on the train. There really is it's just infectious.
They get jealous, right? That's what I found. They get jealous, if you were on the fence and then someone did it, especially if you think you're fitter than that person. Someone who you think you're fitter than does it, you're like, oh man, if she can do it, why can't I?
Exactly. And then you get like the cool race pictures, which, you're jumping over fire and covered in mud. And it's such a fun experience.
Actually, we'll switch across to this now. We'll move on to the business side of things. But just before we do, they're gold for social media. There's only so interesting you can have a photo of someone, doing a bench press or someone doing a rower. But if you throw some of those other photos, everyone muddy, you do the team football photo at the end or the beginning, there's people on monkey bars, they're jumping over things. That's the stuff that's going to be better on social media, which will help your business. But that's what I want to transition across to here, Sawyer. I'd like to cover two things in this podcast. I'd like to cover the business side of it and then also the training side of it as well, because we could do a podcast on each one of them, right? But we'll try and summarize it into both of them there. Let's start with the business side of things, because I think there's a few different ways we can do it. You could say, actually, I'll let you take over. What do you recommend? If there's a boot camp instructor or a studio owner or a gym owner and they're watching this and they're like, all right, great, I want to get this obstacle course thing together. How do they put it together as a business package? How do they make it profitable? What do you recommend there?
So it really starts with, there really can be, I don't want to say minimal marketing, but it's word of mouth and kind of drawing people in. So it starts with we take two approaches to the marketing side of it. We either do like a red carpet, kind of a fight club sort of feel, where it's invitation only. You invite certain people, which of course is so enticing, because, oh, my coach thought I could do this. Like, I'm definitely in. I didn't think I could do it. Or we do it like shout it from the rooftops, big mass invite, everybody should come give it a shot. And that would be for a little bit more of a lower level race. From there, we operate, and if you're doing boot camps or at a facility, it'll all be a little bit different. But the way we do it at Results Fitness is we do clinics. So on Saturdays, we have a team training session where we usually do between 6 and 8 weeks of training, and it's skill specific clinics. So depending on what the race will bring as far as obstacles, we're going to cover those skills. And then, of course, there'll still be a workout and team building exercises, and it'll still be fun. And then race day.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's expand on a few of those. Let's go with this clinic. So 6 to 8 weeks. So say if you're listening to this and you're saying, yeah, this is a good idea, jump on Google, have a search of the different races coming up. See if you can find one coming up. You'll probably need, I'm going to say 12 weeks, because it might take you 3 or 4 weeks to prepare how you're going to do it. And then you need to have those, 6 to 8 weeks of training. So let's start with a price point, Sawyer. Is it a free thing? Can people just come along to that Saturday thing for free and you do the race day, or do you charge? Obviously, there's no right or wrong, but let us know, what do you do there at Results Fitness? Is it
Yeah.
free or do you charge?
So we have actually, because our program has grown so much, we've kind of changed how we handle it. So I'll kind of walk you through that. So at first we had just typically our teams, 8 weeks was a touch long. We kept to 6 weeks. And so we had a 6-week training fee. And so we would charge $197 for new clients. And that is still in addition to their gym membership. It's an additional fee. And then if you're a veteran, meaning you've done a race before, we charge you $179. So you get a little discount. And then the race registration is always on the client. And whether they're signing themselves up or we are signing them up, they are still covering that fee. And from there, now we've progressed it to, we still have the individual team like memberships for what in an individual race, but we also offer, kind of copied Spartan and did a trifecta pass. So if people have 3 events throughout the year that they want to compete in, this is basically their pass, and they can pick and choose whatever events. And we also offer powerlifting and figure shows and marathons, and so whatever they want to compete in, that pass can go towards that. And we charge $397 for those, and that's
Wow.
3 events, so they get a little discount there as well. And progressing from there, now we're offering all year round, we're calling it our Spartan class, and that's $59 a month in addition to their membership fees. So it's really transformed. And of course there's drop-ins, which are great for maybe people that have done a race, but they just kind of want to clean up their rope climb, or, play around on a wall, or whatever you have to offer them.
Awesome. Love that. All right. So let's do a bit of a summary there for the listeners. So let's say you've got your studio, you've got your boot camp, your members are paying $50 a week or whatever it may be. That's great. You see an obstacle course you want to do. It's like, hey guys, we're going to do this together as a team. It's in 6 weeks time. The fee is going to be $200 and you get a Saturday session every week for 6 weeks so we can prepare you for it. And then the race ticket is essentially on yourself. That's the basic system there.
Yep.
Awesome.
And then of course there's like race day coaching and, warm up and team t-shirts as well, which is a big part of the team feel.
Nice. And I love that session, that pack as well you mentioned, because especially coming from like a 12-week challenge side of things, we're going to do one every month, every 12 weeks anyway. So it's like, great, you like this first one here. Hey, we're going to do one every 12 weeks. Here's the price here, or here's the program here for that. And that's just going to help for retention. So I love that side of things there. All right, cool. That makes sense. Let's get a little more into the training side of things now, because it's going to have to be a little bit different to just, a group fitness class or a boot camp or a CrossFit session. So if you can run me through, let's go 2 different ways. Now, at Results Fitness, you guys, this is your thing, right? So you've probably got it all. You've got the rope climb. You've got all that stuff there. So run us through, I guess, the stuff you do, but then also run us through, let's say a trainer's starting off and they don't have that. What are the, the simple things that are available in parks that are similar or that basic equipment can emulate? If you could run us through, I guess, both of those, that would be great, Sawyer.
Perfect. Yeah. So like I said, our program's grown so much at Results. We actually have a collapsible wall that we can build, and we can build it to different heights and with a different amount of boards on the wall to actually help people learn how to climb that wall. We have Atlas stones and monkey bars and gas cans for carrying, sandbags. We've got quite a good group of tools there to play with. So when we run our sessions, we obviously are open to those, but just like any group class, if someone can't hang for 60 seconds, they're not going to be able to do the monkey bars. So depending on how you're setting the class up, whether it's maybe a little circuit or maybe it's very obstacle focused where you're just having them try different obstacles for a different amount of time at each station, you're going to have regressions and progressions for everything, because not everyone's going to be at the same level. So as a coach, it's super fun. It's super, super fun to write these workouts because you get to step out of the box. And as you mentioned, when people can do push-ups on the ground, and maybe they do 100 push-ups. Well, now what? Like, do we add weight? What do you do? So it allows people to, I'm going to hold a sandbag and a kettlebell to do my lunges. That's wild. Like, how fun. So it's just different. You're utilizing the same strength components and strength things that you would train with on a normal program, but you're just twisting them a little to fit this mold to complete the obstacles that they're going to have to overcome. And if you didn't have monkey bars or a wall or things like that, like obviously we're very lucky to have all that now. Parks are awesome. Playgrounds are fantastic. And for something like a rope climb, we don't have high ceilings. We hang it off of, we have a pretty high squat rack that we use, but if people can get the technique of looping their foot on the rope climb, they should be able to climb the rope. So you don't have to have that full length rope climb to teach someone the different ways to tie their feet, whether it's a J hook or an S hook. So there's so many ways. And as a coach, you can take the movements and kind of twist them and figure out, okay, they need to do this. How can I train that? But maybe I'm not doing that exact movement. Maybe I'm teaching them something else. So a great example of that. Yeah, and as a coach, you got to get creative. So a great example of that is we don't have big tires in our gym. And I know some facilities do, but we don't. And in some of the races, you have to do a tire flip. So we kind of took the movement, looked at what you're doing with it. And what we broke it down to is we have Atlas stones. They're like big slam balls. So they're soft. They're not going to hurt anyone. But we have people pick them up like it would be a tire, get it on their knees, and then press it up and press it onto the wall and then let it drop. So it's the same movement pattern as that tire flip. And granted, you lose, the fingers underneath, but they're still learning how to pick up like a deadlift, something heavy off the ground that's not a deadlift. So you can get really creative as a coach and have a lot of fun with it.
Love that. And I think even with that, like here in Australia anyway, most parks have like monkey bars or even just a chin-up bar that you can hang off anyway and emulate some of those. And, those big medicine balls, they're available readily anyway. Over here in Australia, I've got a couple I don't even do obstacle course races anymore, but I think I've got a 25 kilo and a 30 kilo one. And it's a great way to use them because they can often be hard to use in a boot camp setting, these heavy ass med balls like that. And you're not going to have like one for everyone if they're that heavy, right? But if you do it as an obstacle course thing, you can just have one or two down there and use them there. And even the power bags and the sandbags. And I'm guessing there's hills, if you go to a park and there's a hill there and you've got a sandbag and you've got some monkey bars or a chin-up bar and you've got a heavy med ball or Atlas stone, like you can be creative and get it. So I love that there. Now, what about race day, Sawyer? I've got a few questions. This is where I found it hard actually when I first doing these in a group setting. So that was great. The business side of things, we can make it a business and we can add another revenue stream to there. We can, even if we just get 5, 10 clients doing this, right? And they're paying $200 each. Okay, great. There's an extra $1,000, $2,000 just, with an extra hour a day on Saturday. And then depends how you do it, right? Either you can run the sessions yourself or you can get a coach to run those sessions there. We can do that. We've spoken a bit about the training side of things. Great. Let's just have that Saturday session there. Let's make it as skill specific or as specific to the OCR as possible. Now, race day. I know you're going to tell us every little trick in the book of what we do on race day, but I'll run you through some of the struggles I had at the start because this is what I feel some people listening to this, if they go out there and do it, they might find it tough as well. So I would usually get, about 10 people down to this obstacle race. And it was usually a few different sorts of people. You'd have the people that were really fit. You'd have the people that were not so fit. And I was like, oh, hold on. What do I do? Do we do this together as a group and make it a team thing? Or does everyone just go and do their individual thing? So they do really well, but then we lose the team side of things. And what do I do as the trainer? Do I, stay with the fittest people? Do I hang back with the beginners? Do I do the course like 3 times because I run up the front and then come back the bottom and then run up the front? I found that tough at the start. What suggestions could you give our listeners there, Sawyer?
100%. That's such a good point. And so I'll share, our mistakes as well that we did. So we would have teams maybe between 15 and 30, let's say. And we would have 2 coaches potentially working with the team. And we'd have one coach stay at the front with some people and one coach in the back. But at that same time, even if it's a short 5-mile race, you're going to miss people. You're not going to see everyone. Do we need to be up with the fast people and applaud for them at the finish line, or do we need to be back helping the people at the end? What do we do? So we used to run the race with our clients, and we just realized it just wasn't. As a coach, you want to watch everyone. I say coaching on race days like Christmas morning, because you just are so proud of these people, watching them complete this race and doing things they couldn't do. And so you want to be able to, you want a little win too. You want to watch them and feel that feeling. So what we do now is we actually hang out on the sidelines, and a lot of the races will kind of cluster some obstacles together so that the spectators can actually spectate. So we will hang out on the sidelines. We'll warm them up as a team. Typically they're all in the same heat, so they'll be going at the same time, but we do have competitive people that maybe run earlier, and that's fine. And we'll try to get out there and watch them. But for the most part, we're with the team heat because that's the bulk of it, right? They made a choice to run at a different time, and that's totally cool. And then we'll hang out on the sideline and we'll coach them, and just, maybe if there's coaches, we'll kind of split into two different areas. So we're hanging out at those obstacles. We're watching everyone to come through, and then like what order people are in, so you can make sure that everyone crosses that finish line safely. There's no injuries or anything like that. And then we actually have our team wait for everybody to finish. So when the last person's coming through, the whole team is usually right there at the finish line cheering for them, which again just pulls in, even though they all ran their own race, they're still finished. They started together, they finished together, and they're all there to applaud. And then again, like the social media aspect, you get some amazing pictures. Those are the moments you want those pictures, because it's the best marketing you'll ever get. People are just on cloud nine that they did this, and they're dirty and they're sweaty and they climbed a rope for the first time, and it's just the coolest thing ever. So that's how we do it on race day.
I love that system. So I'll just summarize that for the listeners. So if you're going to do this with your clients, you're not necessarily going to run the race. You get there, yes. You warm up everyone together, great. You say it's on your own, you'll pick a spot, maybe halfway, I guess, or something like that. If you've got if you've got a coach as well, you can pick one point, they can pick a different point there. And the way I see that as a huge advantage is you can let people know how they're going. So what the struggle I found when I was doing these is, okay, if I was with the quick people, it's like, man, I got no idea where these slow people are, right? Are they 10 minutes behind? Are they an hour behind? Are they 2 hours behind? And then same thing with the slower people, right? It's like, how far in front of these quicker people? Are they an hour in front, 2 hours in front, 20 minutes in front? But I feel if you can have that spot there, you can pace people. So it's, hey, Sawyer, awesome. Look, you're actually in front of everyone else. Keep going. Once you get there, flick me a text message. I'll see you at the finish line. The next people come past. Oh, awesome, guys. You're doing really, really well. Look, Sawyer's probably 5-10 minutes in front. If you want to try and catch her, hey, she's not that far in front. The next people come by. Yep, doing not too bad, guys. Everyone's maybe, an hour in front. They'll finish now, but they'll wait us there. You just keep going at your own pace. It's just something about knowing where everyone's at. So I
Yes.
love that system there. Now, the obstacle course races, they may be exactly the same, actually. But the question I've got for you is, what are your favorite obstacle course races? And we'll do this a few different ways. Maybe give us your favorite that you like to run yourself, and then maybe give us the favorite that you like for the more advanced participants, but then also one as a good starting point. Because obviously, if you've never done it before, Tough Mudder might be might not be the best one to do up first. So maybe give us those three. Your favorite to do yourself, your favorite advanced one for the people that want to test themselves, and then a nice beginner's one for people that are just starting off doing this.
So my favorite races to run are Spartan races. I'm like all for Spartan. And I actually really love Spartans for a more advanced athlete as well. And there's a few reasons. It's actually a race. So Tough Mudder, I know they started doing Tough Mudder X and different versions, but Tough Mudder isn't actually a race. You don't get like a placement when you finish. So I think the competitive people like to know where they finish, and they can break it down to gender or age group or whatever. And so there's all those different like classes that you can fall in, so you can see how great you did. And I also like, and it sucks, of course, but in Spartan, that if you can't do it, there's a penalty, and you got to kind of pay the toll to move forward. You got to do those 30 burpees. And when you're racing, you hate that rule, but it makes the sport really, really fun. And if you've ever watched it or participated in it, like I was in third an entire race. I missed my spear. I finished sixth, like it just, anything can happen. It makes it so exciting, and terrible. Sometimes you're on the terrible side of it, but, and then a great beginner race. That was your last one, right?
Yes.
I'm not sure. I think it's really only here in Southern California, but it's called Epic Series. And the reason I love it is it's purely obstacles. So there's maybe like a mile or 2 miles of running, but with each obstacle, it's there's different levels. So there's a beginner, intermediate, and advanced. So if there's a wall, people that feel super confident on the wall can do the high one. People that don't can do the low one. So it's great for people that don't want to run. Another one I like that you guys may have is Rugged Maniac. Do you guys have Rugged Maniac over there? It's more of like a fun mud run. So it's the atmosphere is very low key, fun. Like if you don't feel safe doing something, skip over it. And some of the obstacles are inflatable. So I think it's just a little bit, and some of the obstacles are just like a mud pit. And I think that's like very appealing to some people. Instead of Spartan, like they really, really challenge you.
Yeah, awesome. And one thing I've noticed as well, Sawyer, is some of them have even different distances as well, right? There might be, hey, you can do this and do the 10K, or you can do the 5K. So that can be a good start as well. But hey, Sawyer, we're coming to the end of the podcast here. There's just a few questions I like to finish all my podcasts off with. The first one involves around mentors. Now, you're obviously one of the go-to people in the world when it comes to, I want to run an obstacle course race, or I'm a trainer and wants to get my clients to run that obstacle course race. Question for you, Sawyer, do you have any mentors? Do you have anyone you look up to, or are there any books you would recommend for any trainers who want to go down the pathway you do, or any podcasts, any social media people? Could you give us any tips there?
Of course. So my mentors, so Result Fitness is owned by Alan and Rachel Cosgrove. And Alan Cosgrove is actually my coach as well as my mentor, and then Rachel as well. And I raced with her, and then she is a business mentor to me at Results. But they're amazing. I would suggest following any of their books. They've written a few. Strong was the last one that just came out. I also love Ben Bergenson. He is a CrossFit coach, and he coaches Katrin David's daughter, and I've been following him a lot. I read his book, Chasing Excellence, and as both a coach and an athlete, it really hit home with me, and it's been one of my favorite reads in a long time.
Awesome. So we'll just summarize those. So there was Alan and Rachel Cosgrove. They've got a few books out, and they also run programs for trainers, right? They run seminars. Awesome.
100%.
So jump on Google, jump on Kindle, buy their books, follow them on social, because you might find yourself at one of those seminars. And was it Ben Ferguson, did you say, was the gentleman you recommend?
Bergenson.
Ben Ferguson. Awesome. So there's some tips there. Now, Sawyer, yourself, if someone's listening to this and they're like, yeah, that's cool, I want to follow the Cosgroves and Ben Ferguson, but I like Sawyer Shea. I want to follow Sawyer Shea and see what she's up to and see what she's doing. Am I right in saying that Instagram is the best place for people to follow you?
Yes, I share a lot. I share some trainers tips, and I share a lot about my own journey and a lot of my coaching of the clients, as well as like my own journey as an athlete through OCR. And I think people participating in it can be awesome to read someone else's, struggles and their highs and their lows. And so and I'm happy to connect with anyone on there.
Awesome. And that, if you want to connect with Sawyer on Instagram, it's just simply her name, Sawyer Shea. You can look at the name of this podcast. I'll put it in the title there. Just type that into Instagram and you'll find Sawyer there. So, hey, Sawyer, that's all we've got time for today. Just before I leave you to it, is there anything I forgot to ask you? Is there anything I should have asked you but didn't, or anything you want to finish us off with?
No, I think we covered it. It was really great. And I just hope we get some more coaches out there coaching these events and people completing them.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you very much for your time, Sawyer.
Thank you so much. Have an awesome rest of your day.